One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Bumpy weather, way up in the air, or a little bit bumpy.
Here.
So what's the word? You have any questions?
Sir, could you tell us a little bit about how the Lula meeting went yesterday?
Very good. We had a good meeting. We'll see what happens. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but we'll see. They'd like to do a deal. We'll see. Right now they're paying, I guess, 50% tariff. But we had a great meeting. It's happy birthday. I want to wish the president happy birthday. Okay? It's his birthday today. Did you know that?
No.
He's a very vigorous guy, actually, and I was very impressed. But today's his birthday, so happy birthday. All right, would you let him know, please?
Mr. President, a couple more questions on tariffs. Secretary Bessent and Jameson Greer.
He's right here.
The Post said...
Where is he? He's right here, the handsome guy behind
Hi, Mr. Secretary. You said you're near a framework...
He's sitting right over here. Wait, let me just give him a little room.
Hi, Mr. Secretary.
He's doing a good job. No, get over here. We also have Marco here.
You said can you give us a status on the preliminary talks with the Chinese and where that sets things up for Thursday's meeting?
So we had a very good meeting, Jameson and myself, with our counterpart, the Vice Premier, and we have a framework for President Trump, President Xi to decide on, and we discussed a wide range of things from tariffs, trade, fentanyl, substantial purchase of U.S. agricultural products.
And rare earths.
And rare earths.
But nothing has been agreed to yet. We'll see. But we feel good. I mean, we feel good. I feel better that this guy's got nice broad shoulders. If the plane makes a big turn or something, I'm grabbing his shoulder.
Please do.
You know what? I want you to stay over here. Marco, where are you? Come on over here. We'll go over here. I think you have some more room.
Yep.
Come on over here.
So while they're arranging decks in the plane, I've got to apologize because my microphone, I don't know how it sounds, but my microphone went out. I had to reinstall it. So I'm going to let this play a little bit while I fix things in the background.
Sir, we've got a good team. This is the greatest team ever assembled.
President.
You know that if I weren't elected president, in my opinion, every automobile company in the United States would be either bankrupt or very close to it. And instead, they're hitting record highs. Their stock is through the roof. You saw Ford and you saw General Motors yesterday go up big. It's all because of tariffs. If it weren't tariffs, it'd be just like it's been for the last 30 years, where we lost about 52% of our automobile manufacturing business. In my opinion, whether it be now or very shortly, if it weren't for what I've done as president, every automobile company in America would be bankrupt. Instead, they're doing phenomenal business. That's all because of tariffs. All right.
On the flight yesterday, you sent out your Truth Social about the Canada tariffs. Can you walk through when you expect those to take effect? And can I ask why?
No, we're gonna let them know. Ronald Reagan loved tariffs. He used them sparingly, which he probably would make a mistake. He made a mistake in that. And again, I was the biggest fan of Ronald Reagan, but on finance, on trade, it wasn't his strong suit. But he liked tariffs, and they totally changed that to say that he didn't, because they're catering to the Supreme Court, because Canada's been ripping us off for a long time. And then
Okay, so yeah, can you hear me now? Let me know, because I had to reinstall the microphone, and hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if this is okay for you guys. Checking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me? All right, sound is good. All right, great. Sorry about that. I don't know what just happened, gremlin in the machine or whatever. And sometimes it happens, and I completely lost my microphone, and I had to reinstall it. All right, so welcome to the Monday morning show. I say morning because there will be an evening show tonight. President Trump, you begun to hear, did this gaggle while he was on the plane heading from Malaysia to Japan. SB is hitting me up probably. And so he did this with the reporters as he was doing that. Then tonight, he's going to be over in Tokyo. He's landed already. I've got the information that he's already landed, and he's going to be doing a dinner press conferencey thing later on tonight at about 8:30. So that's what we're going to do in the second show. Today in the first show, we're going to cover President Trump and this gaggle right here. We're going to have some interaction in terms of talking about what exactly happened in this gaggle. We're also going to talk about Mike Johnson, who did a fiery press conference this morning about the government shutdown, as we are here on day 27. In addition to all that, we've got the great Zoran Mandami, who looks like he's going to be unstoppable in New York, and exactly what does that mean for everybody. And in addition to that, we are going to talk about SNAP benefits. I had put up a poll, and it was pretty interesting. This poll says, as I look at it right now, the question was, does food stamp abuse matter to you? 81% said very much. 9% said, nah, not that much. And a whopping 10% of people say that food stamp abuse doesn't matter to them at all. And the reason why I wanted to put that poll up, because there were a couple people who kind of whined at me today on X. I'm not going to embarrass them and put up their profile, but the fact that people's like, can we just move on from the food stamp? Nope, we can't. I'm sorry, I'm not moving on from this food stamp debacle that the Democrats have, thrust upon us. But in any event, I'll hold that until its segment. I won't put up the warning notice because everybody's been freaking out about the warning notice. So let's continue with President Trump, and then we'll figure out what we're going to say about the SNAP benefits later on.
To rip us off anymore. Canada has been ripping us off for a long time. One of the most difficult countries to deal with has been Canada. As much as I love Canada itself and the people of Canada, they've just had a lot of bad representatives. They did a fake ad yesterday. They were caught. The Ronald Reagan Foundation was the one that caught them, and it was totally the opposite of what they said. So I don't like that. That's dirty pool, and you can't do that. And let me just tell you, they shouldn't have done it. They've apologized, and they said, we're going to take the ad down. Well, they did it, but they did it very late. They let it play for another 2 nights, and now they took that ad down. So I don't know when it's going to kick in. we'll see. But I don't really want to discuss it. Let's go.
Mr. President, this is an ad. That was an ad run by a provincial government in Canada. Why are you
I
mad
don't
at the
care
federal government?
because whether it's provincial or Canada itself, they all knew exactly what the ad was. The Prime Minister knew. Everybody knew. The Prime Minister knew what the ad was before I went.
Will you see him in APEC? Do you want to meet with him?
I don't want to meet with him. No, I'm not going to be meeting with him for a while. No, I'm very happy with the deal we have right now with Canada. We're going to let it ride.
Well, we have Secretary Beck here. Can you ask about the Fed search as well? Where are you on interviewing candidates for a new chair?
Yeah, we're down to 5. We're obviously traveling a lot now. We're going to continue. We're going to do a second round, and we hope to present a good slate to the president right after Thanksgiving. It'll ultimately be his choice. I think he's got some very strong
I'm thinking about
ideas.
him for a fact. What do you think?
Thinking about Secretary Beck.
I'm thinking about Marco. I'm thinking about Jameson. I'm thinking about a lot of people.
I think Stephen Miller.
We do have a lot. Stephen Miller. How about Stephen Miller? We have a lot of candidates that want the job.
When do you think you'll make a decision?
I think it's the world's easiest job, but to get it right, you have to be very smart. And we have a person that's not at all smart right now, unfortunately. He should have been much slower, much sooner. That's why we call him Jerome Too Late Powell.
Mr. President, Russia said this week that they tested a new missile that can go more than 8,000 miles. Is that saber rattling for you? What is that?
They know we have a nuclear submarine, the greatest in the world, right off their shore. So, I mean, it doesn't have to go 8,000 miles. And they're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time, but, you know, we do have a submarine, a nuclear submarine. We don't need to go 8,000 miles. And I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. He ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what he ought to do instead of testing missiles.
Mr. President, should the EU use frozen Russian assets to help pay for defense of Ukraine?
I don't know. You have to ask EU. I'm not involved in that. That's up to EU.
Are you considering additional sanctions against Russia?
You'll find out.
So, Mr. President, shipbuilding has been a big part of your trade deals with both South Korea and Japan. Why is it so important to increase our shipbuilding to counter China?
Well, a pretty obvious answer to that, because we want more ships. We're going to be back in the shipbuilding industry. We have a lot of companies coming into our country now. They're going to start building. We have the shipyards available. You know, in World War II, we were the biggest in the world in shipbuilding, and then over the years, we went wokey and stupid and weak, and we started buying ships from everybody, and, you know, we lost that industry. But we'll get that industry back. We were the best at it, and we'll soon be very good at it, if not the best.
What are you going to announce in Japan? Can you give us any preview?
We're going to just announce great friendship. I look forward to meeting the new Prime Minister. I hear phenomenal things. She was a great ally and friend of Shinzo Abe, who was my friend, the former Prime Minister, and he was great. He was one of my best. He was one of the best, and in the group, he was one of the best, really best. And I know they were very close, and I think philosophically they were close, which is good. It's going to be very good. That really helps Japan and the United States. I think she's going to be great.
Which CEOs are going to come to your dinner tomorrow? Can you say what companies?
I'd rather not say. You'll see tomorrow.
Are you planning to sign a final deal on TikTok on Thursday when you meet them?
We might. That'll be one of the things we're discussing. Somebody reported it's been approved recently. I mean, we got an original approval from President Xi. I expect we'll have an approval, but I'd rather wait till a couple of days to let you know.
Is it part of the grand deal coming?
No, but it's something we're going to talk about.
The current 55% tariffs on China, is the understanding from both countries that will remain regardless of...
No, I don't want to tell you what the understanding is, because what we understood yesterday or 2 days ago or even today is not going to be necessarily what it's going to be in 2 days. I mean, we're going to have a great talk. I have a lot of respect for President Xi. I like him a lot. He likes me a lot, I believe, and respects me, and I think he respects our country a lot. And I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
Have you been briefed on the incident on the Nimitz, both a fighter jet and a helicopter?
I've heard about it, yeah.
You know what happened? There was
They're going to let me know pretty soon. I think they should be able to find out. It could be bad fuel. I mean, it's possible it's bad fuel. Very unusual that that would happen.
I mean, you don't think there was foul play or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Security threat or
No, they
anything?
think it might be bad fuel. We're going to find out. Nothing to hide. We'll find out.
Sir, has there been a snag in terms of the South Korea trade talks? Is that how is that?
No, I don't think so, Scott. Is it?
No, there's just a lot of details to work out. It's a very complicated deal, and I think we're very close.
Do you expect to finalize that on Wednesday, or will it maybe not quite be done?
I think not quite, but I think the overall framework is done. We're just getting crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That's what Ambassador Greer's team does, and nobody's better at it than they are. Mr. President,
You want to say something?
So I wanted that to play for a couple minutes, and I wanted you guys to hear what he said. A couple things that he said there. One, he talked about the sanctions on Russia, and he told the reporter who asked that question, "You'll see." So that we'll see on that. The other thing he talked about, which has made big news, but not enough big news. And what I mean by that is everything he's talking about in regards to this rare earth deal with China. After this is over, I'm going to explain something with you because nobody's talking about it. This rare earth deal that he's making with China, I believe, and I'm pretty sure a lot of economists believe, it's going to turn things on its head. When he keeps talking about the golden era, when he keeps talking about we're going to be so rich, when he keeps talking about this stuff, even despite all the insanity going on at home, what he's working on will change the landscape financially across the world, probably forever. And nobody's talking about it in terms of explaining it to everybody. I don't know if it's too high finance or whatever, but you don't even hear it on Fox. They don't talk about it. And so I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to go through a post and try to break that out for you because to me, it's like watching a bad movie. We're watching scenes play out over here with the snap and Mondami and all this insanity, the shutdown. And over here, the people who know are like, oh my, can you see what's happening? And I think it's incumbent upon myself to show you, you need to be paying attention to this stuff. Maybe not the 10% of people who don't care about what's going on with Snap. Because obviously those 10% of people either are really rich or have no idea what the hell they're talking about. The rest of us, you need to be paying attention to what is happening. You see, one of the problems we have with these overseas meetings is we see the dancing and we see the pageantry, but we don't hear what's being done. We don't really see the deal. We see them signing things, and we're like, what are they signing? What exactly are they signing? Nobody explains that. Then you have to ask yourself, why is it? Why is it that even most podcasters, blah, 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 blah. Hey, guys, you want to understand what just happened? You understand why it's important to hear what President Trump just did? Why he flew halfway across the world and is going from country to country in blazing speed and then flying all the way back here to deal with the idiots here. The idiots who have no idea how to do anything. I'm going to make sure that you guys absolutely understand.
So with the Korea deal, there are a few parts to this. There's some national security related issues which are really not my wheelhouse. Then we have some pure trade issues where they've had some non-tariff barriers to us for a long time, and we've resolved a lot of those, so that's great. And then there's another piece which is really about investment going forward. The Koreans have a great plan to invest in U.S. shipbuilding, even more than they've already done it. And so they're talking right now, frankly, about how to implement Korean investment in the United States in the best way to make sure that we're...
And especially towards shipbuilding. We're very much involved in getting the shipbuilding going again, which really we should have never lost. Years ago, they lost that. Many decades ago. But we were number one. We'll be either number one or right up around them. China's making a lot of ships. I take my hat off to them. Now, they wouldn't if we had that situation where we charged essentially a fee. But we're not looking to hurt their shipbuilding.
Mr. President, are you concerned that
have the Koreans asked for any visa guarantees after that immigration raid?
No, but you know how I feel. I was very much opposed. Look, when they come in and they're making very complex machinery, equipment, things, they're going to have to bring some people in, at least at the initial phase. In that case, it was batteries. Batteries are very complex, and they're actually very dangerous to make. You can't just pick people off an unemployment line and say, we just, opened up a $2 billion battery factory. So we've got an understanding. And this is with the world. By the way, this is not just with South Korea. This is when they come into our country. We have a lot of factories being built by foreign interests. When they come in, some of these factories make very, very complex, very highly sophisticated equipment. They've got to bring people in with them for a period of time. They'll teach our people how to do it, but even for a fairly long period of time, they're going to need expertise to be successful. And we're going to let people know, I'm letting them know right now, that when they come into our country, we can expect to see them bring in with them some very talented people that have been doing it for many years. They'll teach our people how to do it. Our people will be just as good as they are within a period of time, and it'll be a phase out. But we want them to bring in experts, and that's the way it is.
Mr. President, what visa would they come under? And how long?
We're going to have that set. We're doing a whole new plan for that. But what you can't expect, let's say they come in, for instance, we have massive number of chip companies, in particular one, the biggest by far, the biggest in the world, coming in. You can't expect them to make unbelievably complex chips and computers and other things and pick people off the unemployment line that haven't worked.
Okay, so it's amazing that the press hears him saying this stuff and they don't react. They have no questions to ask follow-up wise. If you understand where his vision is, and Scott Bessent, what they want to do, and how they want to be AI leaders, and the objective is to make sure you build these big data centers, because he understands AI computing. That tech sector is going to be the economic boom for America. The reporters aren't well versed. Whoever's feeding them questions on their phones or whatever, they don't know either. They chase the rabbit. The rabbit meaning the stuff that people are frothing at the mouth of, the SNAP benefits, the shutdown, all this stuff. They're not understanding. He's thinking up here. And he's dropping them the hints. Hey, listen, we got to get this AI stuff done. He has a priority. Dancing with Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries isn't that priority. He's letting Mike Johnson and John Thune deal with that while he is basically out there trying to conquer the world on behalf of the United States. But people don't understand it, so they get mired in the crap. And he's telling you right now.
5 years. But we're going to, so I want them to come in with talented people, and they're going to, it'll be a phase out, a slow phase out.
Did I hear you right that you said you were opposed to the way that raid in Georgia was handled?
I was opposed to getting them out. And in fact, before they got out, they were pretty well set. But before they got out, I said they could say they went, they left, and they're going to be coming back.
Right. Did you see the results from the Argentina election? It looks like Milei's party.
Wow, what a great question that is. I love that question because that was a big win in Argentina. I want to congratulate the victor, and he was a big victor, and he had a lot of help from us. He had a lot of help. I gave him an endorsement, very strong endorsement, and it was really unexpected to have a victory of that. Some people thought it would be hard to win, and not only did he win, he won by a lot. So Argentina, that was a great thing, and I give Scott and I give Jameson, everybody, Marco, a lot of credit for that because, we are sticking with a lot of the countries in South America. We're focused very much on South America, and we're getting a real strong handle on South America in a lot of ways, including the fact that we don't want their drugs. We don't want drugs coming into our country, and you're seeing that.
So notice he thanked Scott Bessent and the other guy involved in the financial part and how they're going to deal with Argentina and how South America is a big target for him. Well, if you think back a day or so, which hardly anybody covered, who showed up in Malaysia on basically no notice and flew halfway around the world for about a 15 or 20-minute meeting. Those of you guys who watched it with me, you know it was the president of Brazil, which happens to be in South America. There is something earth-shattering about to happen that is causing these people to drop what they're doing and go chase Trump and go meet with him halfway around the world, and nobody else is covering it. What would make a world leader from another country decide to drop everything, fly to Malaysia, meet with Donald Trump for about 15 or 20 minutes, get a deal of some sort that nobody's investigating? And he's telling people on the plane right here, oh, we got a big thing we want to do with South America.
It suggested that you might not proceed maybe with the swaps plan or with the changes to beef purchases, depending on the result of that election.
We'll see. We're going to take care of our ranchers one way. That we have two situations. The ranchers for 35 years have done very poorly. The cattle people, they've done very, very poorly. And now they're doing well, but the price is up. So what I can see happening is we're going to take some beef because I have to get the price down. I want to get, most prices are down. If you look at energy and all I have things down, but beef is high. And the cattle ranchers are doing good. They backed me from day one. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that they don't get hurt, but we have to also make sure that I get the prices down. I want to get the prices down like I did with eggs, like I did with lots of others. We had a couple of them where when I first took over, eggs were double and quadruple what they were. That was Biden's fault. A lot of this is Biden's fault too. And we're going to get the price of beef down, and I'm going to make sure the cattle ranchers don't get hurt.
Mr. President, you talked about North Korea on your way here. Have you heard anything back from
I haven't mentioned it. I haven't said anything, but I'd love to meet with him if he'd like to meet. I got along great with Kim Jong-un. I liked him. He liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
Would you extend your trip in order to try to meet Kim? Would you extend your trip in Asia in order to meet with him?
Well, I hadn't thought of it, but I think the answer would be, yeah, I would do that, sure. It's our last stop. So it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, I would do that.
When you do meet with him, sir,
with Kim Jong-un?
Yes. What does the U.S. have to offer?
Well, I didn't say I was meeting with him, but if he'd like to meet him around, I'll be in South Korea, so I can be right over there. Well,
what could the U.S. offer him at this point?
Well, we have sanctions. Well, that's pretty big to start off with. I would say that's about as big as you get.
Anything as like an inducement to do a deal?
I just had a good relationship with him. I would love to see him if he wants to, if he even gets this message. We haven't mentioned anything, but he knows. Did you hear that? President Trump is talking on Air Force One. He's on a plane. Somebody asks him a question, and he answers it, saying, "Yeah, I'd be willing to meet with him. I would. Yeah, I could adjust my plans." And we talk about comms very much. That was an open comm. He just said, "If he gets this message," meaning he was talking directly to him. I cannot believe the people on the plane heard him say that. I hope he gets this message. He's getting this message. Whoever he's got in his country who are listening to the words that this guy is saying. This president is sending out messaging, I'll come. You need to reach out. And so the reporter asked the wrong question. So Trump kind of looked at him. He's like, what would you offer him? You realize it's the other way around. They don't get it. They don't get it that this man is walking with a huge hammer. That he is the boss. What are you going to offer Kim Jong-un? No, the other way around. Hey, you do this, and then we'll see what... Same thing he's doing with the Democrats. What are you offering Schumer? I'm not offering him anything. I don't have to do that. I am President Trump. We have the biggest market in the world. These reporters are so used to liberal supplication that they don't understand it. They don't understand the complete 180 that our administration, our presidential administration has taken from one of complete kowtowing and supplication and giving offers to one that's like, if you don't do what I do, my offer is I'm going to spank you with sanctions.
They're not used to it. I hope you guys understand that big, big difference.
Going over there. If he'd like to meet, I'd love to meet him.
Sir, are you concerned about flights being halted at LAX due to shortages for air traffic controllers? Is there a way we can pay them?
Yeah, there is, but the Democrats should just do a simple extension. That's the best way. The Democrats are holding it up. They want $1.5 trillion for people that came out of prisons, for illegal aliens that come into our country. We don't want to do that because that will really hurt the health care that we have in our country. And frankly, we'd like to see better health care, period.
But even
We're not looking to do that. The Democrats can solve that problem with air traffic control. All they have to do is say, the country's open. We only need 5 votes. The Republicans are with us. We only need 5 votes. So let's see what happens. I would imagine that gets taken care of. Not only the controllers, but other people too.
How is your relationship with Elon these days? And is there?
I think it's good. I mean, you saw that during Charlie's beautiful tribute. Elon came up. It's good with Elon. I like Elon. I've always liked Elon. Elon's good.
Have you talked to him since the memorial?
On and off a little bit. Yeah, very little. Nothing much. Look, he's a nice guy. And he's a very capable guy. I've always liked him. He had a bad spell. He had a bad period. He had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment in his life. Very stupid. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But I like Elon. And I suspect I'll always like him.
Sir, what are your thoughts on the continued protests outside immigration centers in Chicago?
Well, when people come into our country illegally, especially in terms of speed, the very bad ones, murderers, because we've had murderers came in through the Biden administration. We have very tight borders now, but we had open borders. Incredibly, we had open borders. What were they thinking? But we have murders. Over 11,000 murderers came in. Many of them murdered more than one person. We want those people out. We want people that were in prisons. We want them to go back to their prison, not our prison. We want them out, and we'll get them out. We'll get them all out.
So the riddle at this point that many of us were asking ourselves was, why would the Democrats have pushed so much for open borders? And many of us did believe it was about voting and things of that nature, but I don't think many of us understood it wasn't just about voting. It was about where they would vote. And we're seeing that right now in New York City. We are seeing that by keeping the borders open and allowing as many foreigners to come here as possible, the newcomers, it is basically shifting the balance of power in certain cities, big major cities, Minnesota, Minneapolis, New York City, because they built diasporas in these areas, in these communities that overwhelm the people who actually live there, and then use indoctrination and insanity for some of these younger people who have votes. Their currency is they have votes to sway elections and take over cities. None of us has a crystal ball, but with what this guy has been saying, you could almost see New York becoming London. I would venture to say you are going to see these people not only fleeing New York, but just being taken over and consumed. And I can't say some of the things, but you know what I'm talking about. Some of these young women who are good looking and wearing makeup, guess what happens? Yeah, I don't think they see that coming. I don't think they see that coming whatsoever. In addition, we now know, or most of us should know, that the reason they needed all these newcomers in the open borders because they don't have any policy. They don't have, I am firmly believing right now that without newcomers, there is no Democrat Party. They are not viable. They cannot win anything. They can't even cheat their way. That's how badly they need newcomers. And I showed you yesterday, showed you the charts. They're now going around. I don't understand how Schumer and Jeffries can hide from it anymore. Overwhelmingly, almost 60% of these people are on welfare in one form or another. They're bankrupting us. You're working until June every single year to pay for them. It has to end. And I don't care if we have to pull a Band-Aid off.
It was really a terrible mistake that was made. When you think of it, so much of our time is spent on that subject. And it's a big subject because it's probably 20 or 25 million people, the real number. And of the 25 million people, it's, millions of people should not be here. Now, all of them shouldn't be here if they came in illegally, but we have to get the criminals out. Washington, D.C. is doing great. Memphis is starting to do great. We just started there 2 weeks ago. Any place we touch is going to do well. If I were a governor, I'd say, please get your people in, whether it's National Guard or the military. Get them in.
Is there a deadline?
And as you know, we've been winning those cases.
Is there a deadline for San Francisco to get their crime rates down?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do it, but, I have a lot of very important people that are really into San Francisco that are really trying to do it themselves. I said, we can do it better because we have a strong group, a tough group, a group that has powers that other people don't have. Locally, you don't have the powers that the federal government has. And we can do a better job of it faster. But I listened to a few of the people, Jensen, who's fantastic, from NVIDIA, as you know, and Mark he owns Time Magazine, among a lot of other things, right? He's a good man. And they would love to give it a shot. And I say, go ahead, do it. And I would have done that with Chicago, but Chicago is very far along the way. We have to do something with that. If I have a lot of friends influential in Chicago. If they call me, maybe I do the same thing, but we have to save Chicago immediately. We can do that pretty easily, but we have to get in quickly.
Can we go back to Argentina quickly?
Yeah.
What do you think the state of the fiscal situation is there now? Do you think you'll have to do another
Well, we have the all-time
deal?
expert right here. I think right now we've made a lot of money based on that election because the bonds have gone up. Their whole debt rating has gone up. That election made a lot of money for the United States. Now, we're not in that for money per se, but if you look at the value of the bonds, the debt, Scott, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think the great victory in this election, President Milei, I think he is going to expand his coalition, and they have some big refinancings next year, but the Argentinian people have spoken. President Trump, they know that the U.S. is their ally thanks to President Trump. We're behind them, and that they're going to be able to fix their fiscal and keep on the road. He's working against 100 years of bad policies, and he's going to break them thanks to the support for the United States.
And we're helping other South American countries also, as you know.
Will they need more support, or would you consider it if they need it?
No, they don't know. See, he just slid that in there. And again, none of the reporters said, hey, tell us, what other South American countries? We're helping other South American countries as well, as you know. No, they don't. Many people don't. They didn't even see the president of Brazil fly to Malaysia. That was a yada, yada, yada. If you remember the Seinfeld reference, they didn't even catch it. No, what do you mean? What other South American countries? Colombia? No. Not Venezuela. Who else is down there that you think we should have an interest in? Very interesting that he said that.
Yeah, we would consider it. I think there'll be a good chance.
Yeah, we think the market's going to do it from here now that he's gotten over this. As I always said, this was a bridge. We've bridged him. Thanks to President Trump's support, he did better than anyone ever expected. The Peronis said it wasn't a fair election because we were running against Donald Trump too. And now I think the market is going to take care of itself, and it's going to have a lot of confidence in his policies and the way forward.
The polls were very wrong on that election. I mean, the polls really got it wrong. That was an election they said was going to be lost, and not only was it won, but it was won by a lot. And maybe we did help. I hope we helped.
Sir, for you or Secretary Rubio, over the weekend, Israel assassinated a military official of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. Does that violate the ceasefire law between Israel and Hamas, or are they treated as a separate group?
You're talking about the strike against the Palestinian Jihad individuals?
Yes.
Yeah, look, Israel didn't surrender its right to self-defense. Obviously, the ceasefire is based on obligations on both sides. By the way, we'd also like to see Hamas speed up the return of hostage bodies. We still have 13 hostages, 2 Americans included. But we don't view that as a violation of the ceasefire. I mean, they have a right. There's an imminent threat to Israel, and all the mediators agree with that.
How transparent is the Trump administration? You got Scott, you got Jameson, you got Marco. We're not saying you please don't ask this question. You can ask anything you want. There's never been anything like this. Do you agree with that?
Well, I just wanted to add a clarifying question from my earlier thing. You said 5 Fed candidates. That's Waller, Hassett, Warsh, Ryder, and Bowman, right?
Reader,
and Bowman. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Whether a surprise 5th, and you had a surprise 6 occasionally with Secretary Bessent.
He likes what he's doing too. I don't think you couldn't pull him out of there no matter what. It's like Caroline. How's Caroline doing? Good? Would you say she's doing good or just okay? I think she's doing.
She's been very gracious to us.
She's doing very good.
Yes, no.
Without her, we wouldn't be here right now. She's doing great.
When do you think you'll make a decision on the Fed? Last Fed?
I'd say maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah, before Christmas, right around.
I think by the end of the year. Early next year, but by the end of the year. We want to get too late out as soon as possible.
Sir,
We want to be too early with too late.
Sir, Steve Bannon said in a recent interview that there could be plans for you to be able to run and potentially win a 3rd term in 2028. Is that something you'd be willing to challenge the board to be?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know, but I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I mean, I just solved 8 wars and a 9th is coming. I believe Russia, Ukraine will happen. But we just did, we just left, and when you look at the treaty we just did, that was a war that was thousands of people were already shot at the border. And when you look at what we just did, was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We got a lot of good credit, and I really have to thank Malaysia for that, because they really, the Prime Minister and everybody really helped get the 2 countries together. But it was quite a great peace treaty. But that was one of 8, and makes me feel good. I mean, it's millions of people that we saved. I saved the lives of millions of people. That's what's important. Yeah.
Who are the very good people?
They are good people.
You said that for 2028, they're very good people.
Who are they?
Well, we have great people. Well, I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard. They're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
The readout from Walter Reed mentioned advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what that was?
I did. I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah. I mean, I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Yeah.
Did you say what in particular?
You could ask the doctors. In fact, we have doctors traveling with us, but I think they gave you a very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good, either I would let you know negatively, I wouldn't run, I'd do something, but the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen.
One theory on how you might try to serve a 3rd term is that you you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House or the White House counsel or your legal position? I
No,
guess?
you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
So a golf-related question. Do you mind? Your personally the most difficult shot for you in golf.
You mean right now?
Well, yeah. How were you playing?
The most difficult shot. It used to be chipping, but I've become a very good chipper. I hit them all pretty good. I'm a pretty good golfer.
Seriously, you get a question with the President of the United States as he's flying around the world doing deals, and the question you have is, what's your toughest golf shot? These people actually get paid for this? I'm serious. Do they get paid for this nonsense? That's how you know. That's how you know when you're listening to these people, they have no clue what this president and Marco Rubio and Jameson and Scott Besson are doing. It's way over their head. They're 20-something-year-old kids that are being told what to ask, and somebody asks, what's your toughest golf shot? I just can't with these people.
I won 38 club championships. That's pretty good. I mean, pretty much I hit. I'm very solid, very consistent, pretty long. I mean, I hit the ball pretty long. I play with Gary Player. You know, Gary's 90, and he shot 70 with me the last time we played, which is pretty amazing from 6,800.
Putting is pretty good.
Putting's pretty good, yeah. Putting's used to be. I'd say putting used to be the best, but I'd say putting is pretty good.
Yeah. Sir, can I ask just one more trade question? There were some tweaks to the Vietnam deal where they're going to have some zero tariff items that can come into the United States.
Yeah.
Why was that change made?
I don't know.
That's just there's a handful of things like coffee, etc. The type of stuff we don't make in the United States or grow, like climatologically we can't. So it makes sense if people are going to do a deal with us, we'll give them a good deal there. But overall, 20% on Vietnam.
And we want to get coffee down a little bit.
So just to clarify, technically that was stuff that was at 20 and now will be brought to zero. Is that?
Well, it's just brought to whatever congressional level of tariff there is, right? I mean, this is, we have a huge deficit with Vietnam, and so they've taken down all their tariffs to zero on everything.
All gone.
All the non-tariff barriers gone. They're going to accept all our autos, all our standards, all of that. We have 20%.
Which, by the way, people said impossible to get.
They did say impossible.
They're all gone.
Yep. And so we just have a few items like that we can't grow or extract from the ground in the United States. Certain spices, right, that we don't grow in America, that kind of thing.
How worried are you still about the risk of transshipment through Vietnam from China?
So part of the deal, they've agreed to a duty evasion agreement with us, and if we catch them doing it, we can charge an additional 40%, right?
On top of the 20?
That's right, yeah. And that's an executive order that's already in place. So,
You guys have a very interesting couple of days. We have Japan, and then we have South Korea, but we have China coming, and it's going to be very interesting. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, and we are going to, I think we're going to come away with a deal, but I really feel good. Our country is doing so well economically. It's doing so incredibly well. The Democrats should let it open. I guess they don't do that because it's doing so well. It's too bad, but on the macro scale, it's not having that kind of an effect. We just want people to get paid. We think it's very unfair. And how about the man that put up $130 million to make sure our military got paid?
You won't tell him?
I won't tell you, but this is a person that called me that said, sir, I'd like to make a contribution of any difference needed for the United States military. I said, I don't know, that could be a big number. And we worked it out. It was about $130 million. And he wrote a check for $130 million because he's an unbelievable patriot. And that's what it's all about. So we're going to have a good time over the next 2 days. Get a little rest.
I
haven't been watching it too much, the World Series. No, I'm disappointed they didn't put Pete Rose in. I said, put Pete Rose in before he dies. He had over 4,000 hits. They didn't do it. And with all the gambling you see now, I mean, give me a break. They didn't put Pete Rose in. I asked the commissioner, put Pete Rose in, commissioner, long before he died. Like a year before he died. They didn't get it done. Should have gotten it done. Pete Rose Pete Rose was a great baseball player.
One quick one. Just you said yesterday that you might invite China to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
When would that be?
Well, sometime after. I'm going to go. We pretty much agreed that I'll be going to China.
When is that?
In the earlier part of the year.
Okay.
And President Xi will be coming into maybe Washington or Palm Beach or someplace sometime after that.
Vietnam said that you accepted an invitation there as well. Do you plan on visiting
Well, he
Vietnam?
invited me. If I can, I will. We have a good relationship with Vietnam. And they've made a lot of money with the United States over the years with presidents that really didn't know what they were doing. But now, as you know, Vietnam is not charging us tariffs. And that's a big step. And based on that, I would. That's a big move.
On Friday, Ambassador Greer launched a 301 on whether China reneged on its Phase 1 deal. Is that part of these talks? Would you pause that? How connected is that to the Thursday talks and the talks you've
It may be a part of the talk, but it may be a part of just the negotiation.
And that was a separate deal from before, and there's a lot of view in the United States that they didn't keep aspects of that deal, so we're just looking into it. That's continuing, but we're really focused
If all works out well, I'm sure they'll be able to talk us out of it. You agree?
We'll see.
I think so.
It's up to you, sir.
I have a feeling they'll talk us out of it.
You long said that you have a great relationship with Xi Jinping. You really get along.
Yeah.
Could you just elaborate on that? What about your relationship is so great, and what about him?
I just like him. We were obviously that was hurt pretty badly by COVID when COVID came in through Wuhan. Everybody knows that. I always said it. I said it right from the beginning. So that had an impact, but an impact for a lot of reasons. Number one, we didn't get to speak as much because we were all busy getting out of that nightmare. But no, I think I have a very good relationship, as good as anybody, and I would say that likewise with him. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President.
Can I ask about the Beaver president has been following you around, Mr. President?
Thank you, Secretary.
All right, so that was President Trump on the plane going from Malaysia to Tokyo. He then landed, and he's, I'm not sure if he's still at the palace, but he's got an 8:30 dinner, which we will show tonight. I want to show you what he was talking about earlier when he was mentioning the polls. He says, this was posted on Truth Social sometime in the air, after winning 3 elections, by a lot, I am now getting the best polling numbers that I've ever received. People see how strong the economy is, the trillions of dollars of investment pouring into our country, the record-setting strong border. After years of millions of criminals pouring through it, totally unvetted and unchecked, ending 8 wars in 8 months, no men playing in women's sports, no transformers for everyone, rapidly falling energy prices, and much more. Despite all of this, the radical left losers are taking out fake ads, not showing real polls, but rather saying that I'm polling at low levels. These are the people that I've been beating for years, and I'm continuing to do so by even bigger margins. These ads should never be allowed to run because they are fake. Everything about the Democrat Party right now is fake. It is all AstroTurf. After I get done with a couple of things after Mike Johnson, I'm going to tell you how much AstroTurf there really is. It's absolutely insane in terms of what they're doing. I want to show you something, and he's talking about it, and I'm going to lead into this before I get into Mike Johnson. Let me just refresh so that I don't give you stale news. All right, so this is the stock market as of right now. You can see the Dow is up 230, S&P is up 70, and NASDAQ is up 400. And then you see below there, they've got a little subheader. And that subheader says S&P 500 rallies 1% on pace for the first close above 6,800 ever. And the reason is the potential China trade truce. So you know that President Trump's going to be working to try and get a deal with China. And what does that mean? And why would China even bother coming to the table? I mean, it's absolutely huge what's going on. And I just want to, let's just tell you in a second here what is actually happening from what I can see and what some others are seeing. Before I do that, let me talk to you about Lear Capital. because all this stuff is all intertwined, because history shows that every market eventually falls. Every currency collapses. And today, the US dollar is hanging by a thread. We've got $37 trillion in national debt, record high markets defying gravity, and we all know stocks can't go up forever. Meanwhile, your groceries, your housing, especially the money we're giving to people who don't need it or aren't working, are all going up. And your dollar, it's buying less every single day. So when the system breaks, when the crash hits, your stocks won't save you, and your dollars won't either. But one thing will. Gold and silver. Gold has always survived a collapse. You can just look it up. You can see the historical data on that. Banks and billionaires are investing in gold for a reason. Protect your savings. I highly recommend you do the same before the next shoe drops, which could be November 1st. Don't wait for the headlines. Too late. When the panic sets in, as it is now setting in, you can see it happening. They're out there panicking. The flames are being fanned by the media. So you might want to call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free 2025 gold investment kit. So when the system breaks, you'll have some protection with real physical gold and silver. With over $3 billion in trusted transactions and thousands of reviews, Lear is the company I trust and do business with personally. Robin and I, both. And you can too. By the way, for a limited time, Lear is now giving my channel and people here who are watching up to $20,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualified purchase. That's another $5,000 in bonus metals. Get used to that term, metals. So I urge you to check it out before that special is gone. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. So Barry, what are you talking about? What exactly do you mean? I firmly believe, and I'll go into that in a little while, that the left, the Democrats, the Soros-run group, have declared war on not America, on us. You see, I really feel that what they're doing is retribution on MAGA. I really feel that right now what they are trying to do is break Trump's base. And one of those things I keep seeing when I'm, especially when I'm talking about the SNAP benefits, I can see it starting to fray. I can see some people going, well, I need my SNAP benefits. Even there was somebody when I put up that poll talking about their daughter who's disabled. And I won't play the warning because I've played it and people freak out. But I keep saying this has nothing to do with the mental or physically infirmed. Nothing. Nobody is questioning people who are medically and mentally, physically infirmed. Those people deserve our attention. Those people deserve our help. Not looking down on them. It's the other people who are taking this entire system and your money and my money for a ride. 60% of them who aren't even supposed to be here, yet the Democrats lie every single day and say it's not about newcomers. Then why don't they just say it? What are you so afraid of? Because you've got the media who never asks about this stuff. So I'm going to show you something. I want this might be a little bit hard for some people to understand. So I'm going to be slow and hopefully I can help you get it. The guy who wrote this post, I don't know him. He talks about money, and it's like I could have written this myself, but he took the time to write it. And you won't hear many people speak this way. So I'm just going to try and explain this to you as you're seeing what's happening in Southeast Asia, what he's doing tonight, talking about Xi Jinping in China. You have to dig in deeper. October 26th, this guy writes, the day America became an empire. While you watch TikTok videos, United States just executed the greatest economic coup in human history. And I was looking around, I'm wondering if this is an anonymous profile. Is this guy fake? Is it Stephen Miller? Is it Scott Bessent writing this? Because I don't know who this dude is, but he dropped some science here. China controls, okay, this is where it starts, you have to follow through. China controls 80% of rare earth processing. The neurons of every weapon system, smartphone, AI server on planet Earth. One element, neodymium. Without it, F-35s don't fly. Teslas don't move. Data centers go dark. They gotta have this. Trump threatened to destroy $300 billion in Chinese exports with 100% tariffs and the additional tariffs he was going to put on top. Beijing responded by threatening to choke the global technology supply chain, which they did, and then something impossible happened. And he calls it the 72-hour checkmate. I'm going to call it the 72-hour world tour that President Trump just is on right now. October 24th, Malaysia, as you saw, signed a mineral pact. October 25th, Thailand signs a processing deal for those same rare earth minerals. See, we didn't have that. And then October 26th, they did the framework, as you watched yesterday. You saw Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, all sitting there with big smiles on their face like, hey, can we sign this deal? And then we also saw Brazil show up. And people didn't even see what was happening, that the planets were realigning, sending Xi Jinping a huge message. I don't need you. I got these guys. See, the fastest way to make somebody come to a table, unlike what the Democrats aren't understanding, isn't to browbeat somebody in the media. Show them they can do it without you. I don't need you, China. Now I've got Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand. Oh, I got you. Hidden in the fine print, $13 billion in Australian rare earth processing. Oh, got to stop there. Got to back up. Australian? 13 billion in Australian rare earth processing? Who was at the White House last week? I'll wait for it. You can go look it up if you have to. Nobody really talked about it. Why does this guy show up? The Prime Minister of Australia. You might be thinking about it now. Oh, yeah, I remember, Barry. You covered that. You see, we can only cover the 15 or 20 minutes when they're talking to the press. We don't know the deals that they're signing. So the Australian Prime Minister shows up at the White House. Nobody knows what. What are you doing? Just having lunch with Trump? No. No. What I'm doing is I did a $13 billion rare earth processing. The Cambodia extraction rights. Japan tonight, Japan's 2010 playbook, which cut Chinese dependency by 30%, now deployed across $350 billion in American AI infrastructure. That number ends globalization. The USA-China trade in 2018 was $758 billion. Now it has dropped to $578. China's like clenching their butt cheeks. That $180 billion didn't vanish. It relocated to the nations that bent the knee. Asian, that was who he met with this weekend, earlier. That's where he was yesterday. Trade is up 20%. Chinese rare earth market share is dropping for the first time in 30 years. American supply chains rerouting in real time while Beijing realizes they were caught in a trap. Nobody ever imagined that President Trump would get in line with Australia, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia. Hey, we rebuilt it ourselves. We no longer have to go through you. Here's what they're not telling you. This isn't trade negotiation. It's tribute collection. What does he mean by that? Trump just converted the world's largest consumer market from a trade partner into a weapon. Think about that for a second. We are the world's consumer. People can talk about us, they can complain about America, they can say whatever they want, but they need American dollars to survive. And he, more than any other president, understands that fully, even to the chagrin of the Democrats. The Democrats don't want us to be a superpower dictating to the world. They want us to give to the world. A completely different perspective. So while we're sitting here fighting at home about food stamps and all this other crap, Trump's out there letting the world know, I got a huge hammer and I'm not afraid to use it. And nobody can stop him. He says, every nation now faces a choice. Access to American markets or access to Chinese supply chains. Not both. Ever again. Who do you want? America or China? The $20 billion soybean freeze, the first since 2018, isn't retaliation, it's a demonstration. China can inflict pain. They can. America can inflict extinction. Let that sink in. Yeah, you might hurt me, but I can put you guys out. I can take you out. And you, and you, and you. You see, this almost, when you look at it and you sit back and watch the picture here, it's almost like and I hate even using this, but a new mafia don showing up and saying, I'm doing this now. You're doing it this way. You're no longer doing it like you were dealing with Bidenoso. Bidenoso is gone. We've got rid of him. And you can't talk to Kamala Ini because she's gone. I am here, and I'm not afraid to use whatever I need to do. And my associate henchmen here, known as Scott Bessent and Jameson and Rubio, are ready to do deals with anybody who understands you need America more than we need you. Democrats don't like that. Democrats have done everything they possibly can to supplicate other nations. They don't want other nations to feel scared of America. And I say scared because there's another guy running around in the Trump administration who's showing you we'll blow stuff up if we have to. You think Iran got the message? Yup. You think Venezuela's getting the message? Yup. See, when you have that kind of sheer power, one, I'll destroy you financially, and if you F up, I'm willing to drop a bomb on you. He's got both sides taken care of. Yes, extinction level type stuff is what he's doing. Don't make me have to do this. Again, completely contrast everything the Democrats stand for. They don't want to use strength. They don't want to use force. You might kill somebody. What does this president say on an ongoing basis? Hey, so what are you going to do about it if this guy kill them? What? Yeah, straight up, straight face. So what are you going to do if they do that? Kill them? So some of you are my age. When's the last time you heard a president say that? When's the last time you've heard a president, an open mic at a press conference, when somebody asks a question, if you don't like what they do or they do this, what will you do? Kill them. What do you think that makes other countries feel? I don't care if they think he's a madman. The bottom line is, don't F with this guy. Oh, I think he actually said that in a meeting too. Don't F around. Tell me this guy doesn't sound like a mafioso. Kill them. Don't F around. In public. Can you imagine what he says in private to some of these people? If that's what we're hearing in public, and it's a message for people, I will take you out. Because they all look so happy. Yes, Mr. Donald. Yes, thank you. How the heck is he doing all this? All these countries capitulating quickly. I got the money, I got the consumers, and I got this guy over here who loves to blow stuff up. Hey, Pete, tell them. Oh, see, I told you Pete will blow stuff up. The pattern that broke reality. I love this, how he wrote this. 17 times since 2018, the identical playbook announced apocalyptic tariffs. Markets crater, China retaliates. Then exemptions appear for allies. You've seen it. Pressure multiplies on Beijing. 63% of Chinese goods face maximum tariffs. Allied nations, 4%. Every chaotic threat was a calculated bid. Every impulsive tweet moves supply chains. You don't think President Trump knows. You don't think he knows when he says XYZ and he watches the market. He knows his words matter. So he's not being flippant. It's by design. And you guys can make, if you want to, a lot of money just by listening to what he says. How many times has he said something and then with 2 days later, boom, the market flies? Or conversely, I don't like that, boom, it goes down. You just got to listen. There are a lot of people making money just leaning into what he has to say. So what happens, every trade war headline massive systematic dismantling of Chinese technological sovereignty. What happens next? November 1st, Xi meets Trump at APEC. This guy's not stopping. The deal is already done. Rare earth access for tariff relief. American boots on Asian rare earth facilities. How do we know that's going to happen? Well, if you go back to this headline here, and now you've got some fair warning that it's coming. Where is it? Hold on, I got to find my page here. Here we go. This page, yeah. S&P 500 rallies for the first close above 68 on potential China trade truce. So the people on Wall Street are reading the tea leaves exactly as this gentleman is saying in terms of how he's writing this. Things are going to go boom once this deal with China takes place. All right, so let's continue. America gets the future. China gets the save face. America gets the future. Taiwan, AI dominance, technological independence, and the end of competitive multipolarity, all bundled into a trade framework the media will call a truce. The truth, globalization didn't collapse. It was conquered. You see, because the media isn't paying attention to what's happening in all these different countries and how this is happening with Rubio and Bessent and Jameson and what they're doing, they don't even know how to react. They don't even know which questions to ask. He's now hinting at doing something with Rocket Man over in NOCO. You have all this information. If you listen and watch the other stuff, not the stuff they're trying to distract you with, watch what he's doing. I don't even think they're even reporting on this stuff. Then you have to sit back and ask yourself, why? Because they don't want you to know. They don't want you. They knew this stuff was happening on 12 or 13 hour time difference. They know most people wouldn't be up. They know most people won't even show it. They'll see a 60-second snippet here or there on X, but you're not hearing what he's saying. I try to listen as much as I can to everything that these guys are saying. I mean, I know a lot of people, I'm not going to go into the whole AI thing because I know a lot of people just don't like AI. But as you're paying attention now, you see that that's his target. That's where he wants to go. He understands Elon. He understands a whole bunch of other people. They're setting things up to make America the superpower in AI and data. The only question that remains is, are you going to pay attention and do something about it for your own edification, your own pocketbook? Understand where you need to move and what information you need to take and learn more about? I know, I've seen it. People get upset when I talk about prosperity here, but I can't help it. I really, it is me. It's who I am. I'm like, Robin, look what's going on. Look what's going on in New York. You know, I mean, did you see what I posted about New York and what Ron DeSantis said? I'll show you that in a second. Let me first talk to you about Perplexity and AI. I got to ask you something. Do you know what a comet is? No, not that kind of a comet. A comet is a new AI-powered web browser from Perplexity. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing, having endless tabs open? That's a lot of stuff for you to handle and be able to go back and forth to find things. Well, stop it. You don't have to do that anymore. Comet will do that for you. Using Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet. It gives you answers. It finds things for you. For example, you can ask Comet to handle tasks, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would. But it's getting things done for you in the background while you go about your day. Comet can shop for you. It can make reservations. It can book your travel for you. It can summarize articles or videos. It can send emails. It can schedule meetings and a lot more to make your lifestyle much easier. Comet doesn't just give you answers. It gets things done. That's pretty cool. Very cool. It's AI that actually helps you in your daily life today. Before you automatically say no, because I know there's so many people who are so resistant to AI, try it. Actually, try it. You'll be shocked at how it will make your life so much easier. You're in full control of what Comet can do at all times. And if you download Comet today, you'll get 1 month of Rumble Premium for free. So this is the perfect time for you to get Comet. Get yourself your own digital personal assistant who will do stuff for you. Trust me, you won't believe how easy it is and how much time you'll save. I use Comet daily to help me find a lot of the news I bring to you guys. Download Perplexity's new AI web browser, Comet, by heading to http://pplx.ai/Barry. You'll see the link in the description below. And let your browser work for you. And remember, if you download Comet today, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. Again, that's pplx.ai/Barry. Go now and take back your time online. Reclaiming my time. I think some people might think I'm trying to BS you. And then I see stuff. I'm like, SV sends me this headline that popped up. I want to show it to you. This headline popped up. Let's see here. 3:10 p.m. Literally 8 minutes ago while I was talking. Let's look at what posted. U.S. rare earth miners tank 8% after China agrees to stop weaponizing minerals. American rare earth mining stocks crashed Monday after the U.S. and China announced a framework to pause tariffs and export controls on critical minerals. Wait, peace talks crashed the sector because U.S. miners were betting on supply chain chaos. Don't bet against Donnie. Here's the first bit of financial advice people should be giving right now. Don't bet against Trump. You might win once in a while, but it's a losing bet. U.S. miners were betting on supply chain chaos. China controls 90% of global rare earth processing and magnets. They expanded export curbs, tightened oversight, and added new elements to their control list. The U.S. has one operational rare earth mine and was racing to build domestic capacity. Trump had threatened 100% tariffs on Chinese imports starting November 1. China was ready to choke off minerals vital for EVs, defense systems, advanced manufacturing. That standoff pumped U.S. mining stocks. Investors betting America would be forced to source domestically. Then Trump and Xi agreed to hit pause. The preliminary deal gets reviewed this week at the APEC summit in South Korea. Result, investors unwound their bets. If China's reopening the supply tap, there's no crisis forcing Pentagon contracts to Wyoming miners. This is the perverse incentive structure of trade wars. American companies profit from tension, suffer from resolution. Domestic rare earth mining only makes economic sense if China's blocked out. Peace killed the rally. Oh my gosh.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Oh my gosh. I hope you guys realize there is no way, none, that I could have known that was going to get posted at 3:10 or whatever it was. I had my stuff all put together, and then that drops. It's so funny. SV, you killed me with that, man. You killed me with that one. The reason why I started covering President Trump is because I knew his history. I knew he'd be great for America. I knew he'd be great for our economy. I knew that Americans could prosper if they just understood what he was trying to do. He wasn't allowed to do it in his first term. They did everything they possibly could to try and put speed bumps out in front of him. And now, he's steamrolling them. And the only thing at this point that could cause an issue, which I don't understand how it could be possible that the Supreme Court says that these tariffs can't stand. That would be the only thing at this point. If the Supreme Court came out and said that the Trump tariffs can't happen, we're screwed. Absolutely screwed. Then you better buy a whole lot of gold and silver. A whole lot of it. Because, oh my gosh, what would happen at that point? This man is amazing. Absolutely amazing what he's putting together. And I don't know how much of it is him or how much of it is him working with certain people and they know exactly what they're doing. All right, so, man, that made me feel really good. All right, let's get into Mike Johnson so I can get through this, so we're not here the whole time for another hour. All right, this is Mike Johnson. He gets... Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to do. Wait 1 second. I got to put this up. If you'd like to win an ounce of free silver, I want you to go to fanfareshop.org/silver. We've had something like 1,900 people who have won so far, and at the end of this show, right before I do the super chats, we're going to give out another ounce of silver. So stay tuned, but in the interim, you can go ahead and go there now and register, and who knows, you might get picked right today. I understand some people have a problem going to the link. He's saying that the spam filter will kick you out. I can't do much. I've lowered the spam filter. One of the problems is some people have emails that have, I don't know, you've signed up for some stuff and you've been reported, not by me, but the Spam House and what they do, Spam House, HAUS, and how they tell people, hey, your email is crap. And so your email has basically given you a sign-up credit rating, and it doesn't allow you to sign up for stuff. But if you email at showmail@fanfareshop.org, we can add you manually if you can't sign up. All right, so let's get into Mike Johnson today and what he had to say. Man, he threw some fire out there today.
We're now on day 27 of the Democrat shutdown, and we want to review with you a few pertinent facts and explain a little bit about some of the really painful things that are going on around the country. We're delighted to be joined by our dear friend, Kelly Loeffler, former U.S. Senator and now the leader of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and she can speak specifically to some of the great hardships that are being felt by the people who provide jobs now around this country. Day 27 means it's almost been a full month since the Democrats shut down the government. And as we near the end of this month, the pain being felt by so many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day. Here's some of the stats. Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed a full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe. TSA agents we've discussed, and air traffic controllers and border patrol, and of course our troops. But so many of them now are going without pay. The families of military service members and the air traffic controllers and so many of these others are now at very real risk of missing the paycheck at the end of this month. The Trump administration has done everything possible to bend over backwards to try to find sources of funding within the federal government to be able to cover the bases, but it is getting more and more challenging with each day. Now, every Republican in Congress wants to stop this madness desperately. And we have voted many times, over a dozen times, collectively 13 times, to reopen the government, to keep it open and reopen it once the Democrats closed it. But here's the very simple and important fact that no one should forget. We have no ability. Republicans do not have the ability to do this on our own. It's a simple math problem. We need Democrats to help. You need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. The Democrats are the ones voting repeatedly to shut down the government. But they're not opening it back up. They spent most of their time trying to distract the American people from the very simple truth. So it brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've been trying to confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that or any other thing, and it's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate, and it has not changed. These are just 4 subpoints there under fact number 3, but there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to give $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is in their proposal. They want billions in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries. See, we stopped these things. They want to turn it all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans again. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We will not do those things, and they know that very well. Which leads us to point number 4. The Democrats have now openly admitted, and you all had to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House. The Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why. Why are they demanding these things? Why is point number 3 so essential to them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all, they voted for CRs every time it was possible in their lives, as recently as March of this year. But they're doing it to appease their far-left Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why. That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain, because he finally relented. He gave in, and he gave his endorsement to the socialist running to be mayor of New York City. The House Democrats have chosen a side. They were forced to by that far left that they're so terrified of, and they've shown the world what they really believe. There is no longer a place for centrists and moderates in their party. The candidate that they have endorsed, Mamdani, is somebody who we've talked about a lot from this podium. He's sympathized with Hamas and openly embraced anti-Semitic language. He has called to, quote, seize the means of production because he is a Marxist. He's called to abolish our borders, to abolish and end immigration enforcement, to defund the police, and to legalize prostitution, among a long list of hits that I could share with you. Zoran Mamdani is expected to take the helm of one of the most important cities in the world and the largest city in America. And he now has the full blessing of the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives. It is shocking. And that leader and all the other Democrats are going to co-own the consequences of what they do to America's largest city. Every reporter in this room should be asking every House Democrat individually whether they too agree with Hakim's endorsement of the Marxist agenda. It's an extraordinary moment in the history of American politics, as this is not the kind of history that we need to be making. What we're witnessing is truly the end of the Democratic Party as we've known it. And even some Democrats are now saying that out loud. You can see it in their interviews. I watched one last night. All this is directly related to the Democrats' shutdown show. Why? Because just like they decided to save their own skin, that they had to endorse the Marxist Mamdani in an unprecedented move, they have also decided they had to shut down the government in an unprecedented move. No matter the pain it inflicts upon hardworking American people, they were simply more afraid of the Marxists in their party than they are of voters. For the sake of our country, we pray that their calculation is wrong. We believe it is dead wrong. And as much as they try to obscure it, as much as they try to distract you, as much as they try to say that it's about any other issue under the sun, all those issues were always scheduled to be decided. Health care, the expiring Obamacare subsidies, the NDAA, the appropriations, all these other things, it was always on the calendar for Republicans and Democrats to hash it out in October, November, and December. This is not a surprise to Republicans. It's not a surprise to Democrats, and they all know it. That is the only thing they could grasp onto to try to give some sort of argument, to try to give cover for the fact that they're running from the far left base of their party. Facts are facts. And the ball is fully in the court of the Senate Democrats now. Who are they going to respond to? The American, I think hardworking American families need to be a little more vocal. I think they need to call some of these Senate offices and tell them to stop the games. They need to know they should fear the American people worse than the Marxists who are trying to take over their party. And my friends, that is exactly what is going on right here. Now, I want to zoom in because we have a special guest and just focus on a group of men and women who are seeing the impact of this shutdown in their bottom line every single day. And that is America's small business owners. See, small businesses are the largest employers in our country. But unlike Washington Democrats, they don't have the luxury to wait out this shutdown. For many of them, federal contracts have been frozen, SBA loans and support have dried up, and business has dropped off due to uncertainty in the markets. A survey of small business owners across the country found that for the 1 in 5 small business owners who rely on government contracts, this shutdown is forcing them to pull back on their investments. And what are those investments? It's new hires, new jobs. It's supplies and services. They have to pull back on those things so that they can make payroll work, so they can keep their employees employed. One business in Raleigh, North Carolina that relies on federal environmental approval said this, quote, "The backlog that is generated by the shutdown will last long beyond today." Another business in Georgia, Ms. Loeffler's home state, specializes in home repairs, added, quote, "When livelihoods are affected in such a manner, home repairs and projects get delayed if not canceled. Our government shutdown is a threat to us all." For American businesses that rely on loans from the SBA, each day means crucial dollars lost, and that affects every American at the end of the day. Small businesses across the country are being forced to go without roughly $170 million in SBA-backed loans each day, and that adds up to $4.5 billion in blocked loans just over the course of this shutdown so far. So while Chuck Schumer says that every day gets better for his party, every day is getting much, much harder for the people who are keeping the lights on around the country. To share more about what small businesses are experiencing firsthand, we are really delighted to join and welcoming this morning the administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Speaker. So before Kelly starts talking, sorry about the buffering. Nothing I can do. It's, without getting technical, it's the encoding software is having problems communicating once in a while. In any event, before she gets talking about this, I think you guys are astute enough to understand what is happening. Meaning the Democrats realize they're done. I've told you that for months, probably, that they've got nothing. There is nothing left. We are watching a political party doing agonal breathing. They're lashing out anything that they can grasp onto at this point to try and slow Trump down. The problem is, every once in a while, they chip off some more people who think, or because of their own intrinsic situations, want to blame it on President Trump. Again, and I've said it many times, the old John F. Kennedy quote, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, would never fly in today's Democrat Party. They want the complete opposite. They have created a system where the government controls and takes care of people. You've seen the videos. At this point, when you look at these people and you understand which I don't understand how somebody would want to be taken care of. To have somebody else dictate to you that this is what your life is. What kind of sorry-ass individual do you have to be to not have any aspirations to be better? It's so foreign with me because from the time I could basically walk, I was into sports and a performance-based mindset. My dad was an entrepreneur. I don't understand how people sit back and go, can't wait till I get my check this month. It is beyond reason. And I know it's beyond President Trump's reason. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm out here way before I did this president stuff. I was building towers and building stuff and making stuff happen. I'm sure it's a mind screw to him to think that there's a 60% port of our people in this country, including newcomers, who are just sitting back, waiting on somebody to give something to them. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. They were able to get into the school system. They were able to indoctrinate these kids that turned them into young adults where they don't want anything. They don't want to have dates. They don't want to go to nightclubs. They don't want to go dancing. They don't want to promulgate. Don't want to have kids. Don't want to get married. Don't want to do anything. Think back to when you were younger. Yeah, we used to go out. There's no nightclubs really anymore. There was nightclubs everywhere. People wanted to enjoy things, have fun, go out to dinner, go out to hear a band play. Now it doesn't exist. They've turned these people into perfect communists. Thankfully, and I think we can say some of it to Charlie Kirk, is that they're going back to church. Finally, we're fighting back as well, and I'm just asking you, hold the line. Stop feeling personally upset when I talk about the SNAP benefits. I'm not talking about people who have mental or physical infirmities. Not talking about that. I'm talking about the welfare queens and princes who are out there just waiting for someone to feed them, for someone to drop some gruel into their mouth. I don't have any patience for it. And if somebody threatened me earlier, well, if you keep talking about it, you might lose subscribers. F it. I don't care. I don't care. You know why? Let me tell you why I don't care. Because there is a subset of you who want to do better in your lives, regardless of what age it is. There are a subset of you who are like, you know what? This man is working his butt off. He's flying around the world to make sure that my life is better. I want to get in a position where I take care of that. I'm watching what Trump's doing, and you're going to hear what Kelly's going to say, but he's doing this not for himself. This is for you. And you got people on the left who are crying about it. Oh my God, he's trying to make life better for people. And it's starting to infect MAGA. There are some in MAGA who I dare say, besides themselves not wanting to seize aspiration and opportunity. They don't want you to either. They'll mire themselves. I mean, I see people talking about the January 6th pipe bomber. What? What are you talking about? And so I'm urging you. I'm urging you to do some intensive thinking at this point and understand too many people are focused on the wrong stuff. We have a short period of time here. If you don't see what's going on in New York and understand with Minneapolis and what these people are trying to do, then you're not going to be armed. And I don't mean that in terms of pew-pew. I mean up here. Listen to what Kelly has to say.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Well, thank you, Speaker Johnson, and the leadership gathered here. And I want to start out by thanking you all on behalf of America's 36 million small businesses for passing a clean funding bill to keep the government open, and for passing the largest working family tax cut in American history, saving taxpayers a $4 trillion tax hike that Senate Democrats voted for, congressional Democrats supported. Now, that tax cut is a big reason why we've seen a historic comeback for our nation's economy under the leadership of President Trump and congressional Republicans. Prior to the Democrat shutdown, the data was very clear. Small business optimism was at 7-year highs. Wage growth was outpacing inflation for the first time in 4 years. GDP growth was 3.8%. Deregulation, energy dominance, and fair trade were finally back. For the first time in years, America's small businesses felt the wind in their sails. They were taking on new capital to hire, expand, and invest. Now, that confidence manifested itself at the SBA through a historic demand for capital exceeding $100 billion for the first time in the agency's 72-year history under President Trump's leadership. That includes $45 billion, a record $45 billion, in SBA loans to 85,000 small businesses in fiscal 2025, the most ever approved by this agency, thanks to confidence in the Trump economy. But today, 27 days later, as the Speaker said, Senate Democrats have intentionally put that momentum at risk. The SBA's loan guarantee programs have been halted, and Main Street's capital has been choked off because Senate Democrats are playing politics with lives and livelihoods. They're demanding $1.5 trillion in taxpayer money to fund health care for illegal aliens and other liberal causes. Their spin is fact-free. They want to subsidize their broken, fraudulent, and unaffordable health care system, where premiums have increased by 80% since 2014, and those are the enormous costs that are borne on the shoulders of small businesses. But the pain is the point. Every single day of this shutdown has stopped 320 local businesses every single day from accessing $170 million in SBA loans for hiring and for expansion. Now, in Chuck Schumer's own state, that is $40 million every single week. In my home state of Georgia, Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock shutting down $35 million in Main Street capital every single week. So on day 27, all of that adds up to 6,000 small business loans that have been prevented from receiving upwards of $4 billion in Main Street lending. And it's not just the flow of capital that it's been cut off, as the Speaker said. It's small businesses that rely on federal contracts. Thousands of them across the country have received stop work orders. Thousands more who rely on federal workers as their customers are seeing their revenue dry up. Here in Washington, of course, but around our military communities, around main streets across America. It's our storefronts that are cutting back hours, manufacturers that are shelving expansion plans, and generational businesses that are closing their doors for good. It's business that they will never get back. Thousands of painful stories like these are playing out, and that's what Democrats are talking about when they say they now have leverage. Now, America's small businesses make up 99% of all of our nation's businesses. They create 2 out of every 3 new jobs, and they make up about half of our GDP. So when the CEA estimates that every week of the Democrat shutdown, it shrinks the U.S. economy by $15 billion. That cost is borne by Main Street. When they estimate that Senate Democrat shutdown will cost our economy 43,000 jobs, those jobs are at local businesses. All because Senator Schumer and his caucus are willing to sacrifice Main Street so that they can derail President Trump's historic economic agenda and appease the socialist radicals who are now in charge of the Democrat Party. It's why I'm so proud to stand here with Speaker Johnson, Chairman Williams, and the entire House leadership team, because we are united behind Main Street, our military, and those who rely on critical federal services. It's time for Chuck Schumer to end the political stunt, pass a clean funding bill, open the government, stop putting illegal aliens and the Marxist socialist demands of your radical base over small businesses back home. We must bring the same common sense that prevails on Main Street back to Washington. I'll now turn it over to my good friend and chairman of the Small Business Committee, Roger Williams, from the great state of Texas.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate Administrator Loeffler, and she's quoted you a lot of numbers, which are all true, but let me just tell you this. I chair the Small Business Committee. I'm a small business owner. I didn't sell my business 10 years ago or anyone. We still have our family business, been in business almost since 1939. I've been in it 57 years. I know what's happening on Main Street when it's good and when it's bad. And let me tell you, Main Street is very fearful of the Schumer shutdown. He is totally holding Main Street America, small business owners, small business employees at bay because of his future that he's concerned about. It has nothing to do with it. Main Street is 99% of the businesses are small businesses. 75% of the payroll, 75% of the workforce is small business. It's every small business in your hometown, in Schumer's hometown, in my hometown. I go over, and I'm not necessarily as much a congressman when I get home as much as a small business owner. And I can tell you what's happening out there. I'm worried about the 99%. I'm worried about the 75% of payroll, 75% of workforce. I'm worried about the fact that they cannot meet the payroll, as Administrator Loeffler said, with the SBA like it is right now, is ready to go. I mean, we are ready to go. We've had more activity in the SBA since November 5th than we've had in years because people want to start a business. So they see the Trump economy works. They want to start a business. They want to stay in business. I'm worried about that group of people. I'm worried about the fact that they can't meet payroll. I'm worried about the fact that they can't buy inventory. If you can't buy inventory, you can't sell anything. And the truth of the matter is, if you want to go deeper into it, if you don't have inventory, inflation will rise because you're not discounting your inventory. That's how capitalism works. That's how the private sector works. That's how we compete. So the other thing we did before the shutdown, Administrator, thanks to you, is the fact that we raised the loan limits from 5 to 10 million on manufacturing. Ready to go, ready to expand, ready to grow your business. And I would tell you, if we're lucky enough to have some more rate cuts, this economy, the Trump economy, along with small business, is going to lead the way and explode. But we can't do it with Chuck Schumer hanging an anchor around everybody's neck because he's personally concerned about his political future. So as a small business owner, I'm just saying to all of you, the greatest asset America has is its people, its Americans, and its Main Street America. Risk and reward built this country. Right now, there's no risk and reward. We're just playing defense. That will not work. This shutdown must end immediately to save small business, to save consumers, to save Main Street America. I'm honored to chair the committee. I'm honored to work with Senator Loeffler. We can get this done. Everybody's ready. It relies on one man, Chuck Schumer. Take a look at the small businesses in your district or in New York, Senator Schumer. Tell them that you don't care about them. Tell them you don't care if they meet their payroll. Tell them you don't care if they hire workers, and see how that goes. America is the greatest country in the world with the greatest workforce in the world. I'm proud to have a small part in supporting them and getting our country back on track. May God bless all of them. May God bless America. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chairman Williams, for all you do to support small businesses, to really epitomize the backbone of our economy. And Administrator Loeffler, thank you for coming and for what you're doing to help small businesses grow in every corner of this country. Unfortunately, as Administrator Loeffler pointed out, those small businesses are struggling like millions of families all across America. Why? So that The Democrats can get leverage. Who knows who they want leverage over? They can't articulate it. They've laid out $1.5 trillion wish list of crazy items like giving taxpayer-funded health care to illegals. In their bill to give that taxpayer funding to illegals, they actually gut rural health care. Democrats gut $50 billion out of rural health care. They want to talk about health care? They're the ones making it harder. And of course, they don't want anybody to remember facts. Facts like when we moved the working families tax cut through this Congress. Unfortunately, not a single Democrat wanted to support that because it involved preventing a tax increase. The party that's now gone all the way over, full bore into socialism. As the speaker talked about, Hakeem Jeffries is now all in for the socialist agenda of Mandami. He is the head of their party now.
Now, see, that is really scary. They've pushed so far in on this socialist commie agenda that I don't know what they had to do to twist Hakeem Jeffries' arms. He was trying to resist, but he had to do it. Somebody is making these people do this stuff. Somebody is making them commit political harikari right in front of our eyes. They don't have the ability to make this a national thing unless, of course, more and more people continue to get brainwashed. I tell you, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I see hundreds of thousands of people in stadiums. They're not going to be voting for this. It isn't possible. These people, you, me, we love our lives. We love living. But the media isn't under the same haze as everybody else in the Democrat Party that try to talk about this, and this, instead of talking about small business and how these businesses are being completely eviscerated for the one fact of trying to keep newcomers on health care. It would take one episode of a CNN or NBC broadcast to just say, yes, what Mike Johnson is saying is true. We have looked at the documents, and yep, the Democrats are fighting for $1.5 trillion for newcomers. That's all it would take. That's all it would take is for people to understand they're being lied to. And so I just say it's up to you. I know it's very hard because a lot of people, they don't want to hear it. They don't care. But hopefully we can get enough people to just say, wait a second, you're telling me. And that's why the SNAP benefit thing is probably the worst thing to come behind the health care. Because at this point, another light is being shown over here, whereas, wait a second, now we find out that 40 million people are on SNAP benefits. If it wasn't bad enough that half the money for Medicaid and and all this stuff was going to newcomers, now you're telling us very next day 42 million people get SNAP benefits. At this point, people should be putting their hands up going, what in the hell has happened? Why are you not pissed off? 42 million people. 13% of our entire population you are putting your money to every day. They completely have made this a dependent country where they don't want to work. And here's what's really bad about that. I mean, really bad. Let me just stop because Ashley sent me something I want to show you. And what she said is, you've been saying this for quite some time, and I have. And now it's about to happen. If we don't fix this, we are probably no way out. This is 242. Amazon just announced that they're cutting 30,000 jobs starting tomorrow as it pushes harder on AI, automation, and efficiency. There is a storm off the coast. I like using that analogy because down here, we, as I've said, we're used to hurricanes. The Hurricane Melissa, it battered Jamaica. We all watched it. It's on the news all the time, but now it's not going to be much of a threat to South Florida, so we don't pay attention anymore. If you're not paying attention to what's about to happen nationally, and we have a legion of people already, 40 million people who can't feed themselves, who choose not to want to feed themselves. Again, asterisk, not talking about mentally or physically infirm people. I'm talking about the ones who choose not to be productive members of society, who intentionally don't want to be productive members of society. They no longer are going to be functional in our society. So either people need to get it together, or we're going to have a whole subcountry of people who are going to need to take your money to survive. And they will do it gladly. They will demand it. They won't even ask, can you guys please give us some more? No, we demand. The Democrats are demanding. See, they know what's coming. And they know that our nation can't exist as the stuff we've been talking about today, rare earths, processing, and all this different things. These kids can't even do anything but watch Judge Judy reruns. And so the divide is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And nobody's paying attention to it. See, Demandani, he's cute, and he talks well, and he's nice, and it's too late. Put on your hijab and make sure you get ready to do your call. They won't even see it coming. Won't even see it. Obviously, they're not looking now. Hopefully you are.
He gets elected mayor of New York. He's given the marching orders to the rest of the Democrats. And they want to raise taxes on everybody. They call you rich. Anybody who works for a living is going to be rich, and they're going to raise your taxes to get government-run grocery stores and the lunacy that comes with that. That's the Democrat agenda. It's not about improving health care, because, again, in their own alternative bill, they want to gut rural health care. You know what else they work to do? In the Working Families Tax Cut, we had a provision that would have lowered premiums by 11%. According to CBO, it was scored to lower premiums on families. It's called CSR. You can go look it up. It's something that has been out there as an idea for a long time. We actually put it into bill language and text and passed it through the House. But Democrats went and used a parliamentary maneuver under the Byrd rule to get that removed because they don't care about families. They don't care that that provision would have absolutely lowered premiums by double digits for families who are paying too much for health care. And then not only did they get it removed, Democrats in the Senate bragged, still to this day on their website, bragged that they removed it. They want to tell you it's about health care? It's not. They really told you what it's about. It's about getting leverage, showing off to their radical Marxist socialist base that they're fighting Donald Trump because they're still angry about the results of the November election. And in the meantime, real families are struggling. Every day the number grows higher. Yesterday, Senator Gallego went on to meet the press. And he was asked when Democrats would reopen the government. And he said, quote, "I'm not looking at a timetable. I'm looking at everyone's personal pocketbooks." Now, Senator Gallego, you ought to be looking at the pocketbooks of those single moms who right now are facing losing their WIC payments, facing losing their SNAP payments. And if Senator Gallego's not sure how many people that is, we've been told by the administration how many people will stand to lose real benefits, SNAP benefits, food stamps for kids. 42 million people will lose those benefits in just a few days. Senator Gallego, look at their pocketbooks. WIC, Women, Infants, and Children program, helps feed 7 million low-income moms and infants. Senator, go look at those pocketbooks. And who knows what your real motivation is. But I'll tell you what their motivation is. Their motivation is just to put food on their table for their kids. And every Republican and Democrat, every Republican in the House and Senate voted yes to put that food on the table. And Democrats keep voting no. They keep voting to shut the government down. and it's having an impact on millions of people. Head Start, which is a program that funds education and nutrition services for 800,000 kids under the age of 6. You hear this theme over and over again now. Who the Democrats are using for leverage and hurting is kids and nutrition programs. That's who they've chosen to target. And it's real harm and real pain that they're causing. But then it gets even bigger. Just today, the American Federation of Government Employees, large union, came out and said, quote, "It's time to pass a clean, continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. No half measures and no gamesmanship." And the union went on to say today, quote, "Because when the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of this shutdown, they aren't looking for..."
That statement alone is scary. That statement alone, if I was a politician, I would have to be looking at what he just said. If you can't survive even missing one paycheck, then there's something really wrong. We are overtaxing people. We're putting too much of a burden on people. We're not showing people how to increase their own personal prosperity. We're not showing them the opportunities before them. We are forcing people to basically sell their time for money to the point where one week, and you can't put food on the table. See, I don't find that to be the problem of the people. I find that to be the problem of our government, not because they should be giving more benefits. See, that's what has got us into this situation. The Band-Aid that continually says, "Oh, you need something? Here, let's put a Band-Aid on that." Instead of looking at the symptom. Wow, people are living paycheck to paycheck. Why are they living paycheck to paycheck? Why? How is it possible that you're living paycheck to paycheck? Millions and millions of people do. Why? Why haven't we shown people and say, hey, listen, here's what you want to do. You want to take a percentage of that and go here, and a percentage of that and go here, and a percentage of that and put it here. And stick to that. Don't deviate. And then this pile will continue to grow on its own like a tomato plant. Don't touch it. Let it continue to grow. Use the rest of your money to live accordingly. And even if it means you don't get to go to the movie, or you don't get to go and get a latte blatte from Starbucks, or you don't get new nails, or you don't get anything, new weave, doesn't matter. Kid doesn't get a new pair of Air Jordans, doesn't matter, it ain't there. But mommy, it's in that account, and it's going to stay in that account. This account over here is our growth account. We're going to pour water on this, and we're going to make sure this thing keeps growing, and we're going to learn to live with the rest. It took me a long time, a long time, to understand you need this pile over here, whether it's gold or silver or whatever, maybe just a couple CDs, and make the tough decisions now so you're not making the tough decision to go to a food bank. I don't besmirch anybody who's down on their luck right now, especially people who are out of work or not getting paid because of this insanity of this government shutdown. But here's what I would ask every single one of these people. When you get your back pay and they turn everything back on, what in your life has changed to make sure that never happens again? I'll ask you. What are you going to do now that you've gotten your money back to make sure nobody can ever put you in that situation ever again? See, many of us learned that during the pandemic. It's like, wait a second, you're turning everything off? And we can't, whoa, hey, what do we do? Your business is closed, you can't do this, you can't do that. I hope that many people realized back then, all right, so now we got to figure out how to make this work so that we never, ever go back to that happening. Remember, I told you how many people say, oh, you don't remember where you come from. Oh, I remember where I come from. That's why I got to make sure I ain't never going back. So if you have to go to a food bank right now, God bless you. My question is, what are you going to do when they turn the money back on? It's going to happen. You'll get your back pay. It's going to work. But if it happens again in December and they shut it down again because the continuing resolution didn't work or whatever, what have you done during this interim to make sure it doesn't happen again? I read a post today and it was incredible. Somebody was complaining that something was too expensive or that was too expensive. And the guy wrote, he goes, the old mantra, your parents don't know what it was like, how it is today. Well, you're right. My dad and my mom never had a $1,000 phone walking around. We had a phone on the wall. And if you had to make a call, you had to walk over there and make a call. They survived, I survived. We didn't have remotes with TiVo and YouTube TV and everything else. There were 3 stations. And most of the time we didn't even watch those because we weren't sitting in front of a frickin' TV. We weren't playing these video games. Somehow we all survived. Obviously, I didn't go without too many meals. How did we all do it? It was so different back then. No. Yeah, my mom didn't, and the sisters didn't have fake fingernails. They went and got their hair done once in a while. I got mine done, not done, shaved when we were growing up. How did we survive? How were we able to get away with all the live and thrive with all the things that you guys gotta have these days? People have got to get in the mindset to be protectionists, as I would call it. A protectionist is like, I have to make sure the people around me never suffer. And I want to make sure, and I will bust my butt to do whatever I can to not go back again. And so I would ask these people who are going to the food bank, thank God you found some place to get some food. But what are you going to do to make sure if this happens again? You know, if you haven't lived through a hurricane, there's no lights. What do we do? Oh, don't drink the water. Well, that happened once. Hey, you better make sure you got this, and this, because it will go off. And you will be stuck for days at a time, hopefully not too many days, when you're sitting there going, you can't eat anything in the refrigerator, we got to throw it all away. What are we eating? Better crack open some of them cans in the garage and like it. Put it on the grill. You love Spam when you have to. That's what you do, what you got to do. I'm sorry.
And spin, they're looking for the wages they earned. The fact that they're being cheated out of it is a national disgrace. And they're right. It's a national disgrace what Democrats are doing to good, hard-working people, to women, infants, and children who are just looking to this town and saying, what are these Democrats doing? What happened to your father's Democrat Party? It's a mirage of what it used to be because the socialists have taken over. This is what Marxism and socialism looks like. Government workers standing in food bank lines. Children going without food and Head Start nutrition programs so that Democrats can use you as leverage. It's a national disgrace and it needs to end now. We stand ready to get that job done. We voted to get that job done. It's time they stop playing this game that's harming millions of people. Our whip, Tom Emmer.
We're now on day 27 of the Democrats' shutdown, and the consequences are getting more severe every single day. Over the weekend, we saw federal workers lined up at food banks, as our majority leader was just saying, as they are being forced to figure out how to feed their families. We saw control towers at major airports such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Newark, and Phoenix facing significant staffing shortages. And if the Democrats fail to pass our clean CR and reopen the government this week, more Americans will miss their hard-earned paychecks. Some states will be forced to cut off SNAP benefits, including my home state of Minnesota. Thankfully, the Trump administration and private sector companies have stepped up where Democrats have refused. President Trump has found creative solutions to help pay our troops and fund WIC benefits for moms and young children for just a little bit longer. DoorDash announced yesterday that they will help support Americans by delivering free meals to food banks and waiving delivery and service fees on grocery orders for SNAP recipients. But these are Band-Aid solutions to the Democrats' self-inflicted shutdown problem. Remember, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a nonpartisan government funding bill sitting in the Senate ready to be sent to President Trump's desk immediately. We just need 5 Senate Democrats to come to their senses, do the right and reasonable thing, and support our clean CR. Contrary to what House Minority Whip Catherine Clark believes, the American people are not leverage in the Democrats' shutdown charade. And we refuse to negotiate under hostage conditions, nor will we pay a ransom. So our message today is the same as every other day, and we're glad to see, as the majority leader mentioned, that the American Federation of Government Employees, by the way, the largest government employee union, 820,000 federal employees, have joined us in saying enough with the political games, support our clean CR and reopen the government like your constituents' livelihoods depend on it, because they do. With that, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yeah, Manu, go ahead.
It's now been more than 5 weeks since the House has last met and last voted. But even during the government shutdown, House committees could still meet, there could still be markups, there could still be oversight hearings, bills could still come to the floor. So why not do that rather than have members back home in their district? Why not bring them back here and do the work that they were elected to do?
Yeah, so we're evaluating this day by day. The House did its work. I've said it over and over and over. And the most important thing is to get the government open. It's the #1 priority and #1 responsibility of Congress, and the Senate Democrats have chosen not to do it. We think that is paramount and of paramount importance to everything else. There is plenty of time in the remainder of the calendar year to do all the things that are the must-pass pieces of legislation and all the negotiations that I referenced earlier today. And we are anxious to get everybody back to regular legislative session. But there cannot be a regular legislative session so long as the government is closed and Americans are feeling so much pain. We won't do that. Now, in the meantime, Republicans, I don't know what the Democrats are doing other than publicity stunts, but I can tell you the House Republicans are doing some of the most meaningful work of their careers. They are in their districts working around the clock with their constituents, helping them not only to negotiate the crisis that's been created by this Democrat shutdown, but all the other matters that they need to attend to. And I'm hearing from them individually. They are having some of the most meaningful interactions at a time of great crisis with their constituents that they've ever had, and that's really, really important. So I don't want to pull them away from that work right now when their insight and their counsel and their assistance and those of their staff, who, by the way, aren't getting paid soon, that is most essentially needed right now back home. So we have work to do here. We'll get back on the floor as soon as we can, and in the meantime, as soon as the Democrats allow us, and in the meantime, the committees, the chairs of all the committees, and the active members of those committees are still churning the work out. They're not doing a markup right now in a formal meeting, for example, but they are still doing very meaningful work. Oversight. The oversight responsibility of the House continues to work. You might have noticed the Oversight Committee dumped its 3rd batch of files from the Epstein matter just a number of days ago. 43,000 pages of documents are out there, including Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial ledgers, his daily calendar and diaries, all those things are out now in the public. And so all these essential functions of the House of Representatives continue in earnest. No, Hakeem Jeffries has said they're on vacation. Well, he might have sent the Democrats on vacation. But House Republicans are doing very important, very essential work around the clock. Yes, go ahead, Melanie. Yes. Yeah. Well, look, I can tell you the administration has worked, as you all know, very creatively and very hard to limit the pain on the Americans because of the Democrats' shutdown. And the SNAP benefits is a unique situation. I got a summary of the whole legal analysis, and it certainly looks legitimate to me. The contingency funds are not legally available to cover the benefits right now. The reason is because it's a finite source of funds. It was appropriated by Congress, and if they transfer funds from these other sources, it pulls it away immediately from school meals and infant formula. So it's a trade-off. There has to be a pre-existing appropriation for the contingency fund to be used, and Democrats blocked that appropriation when they rejected the clean continuing resolution. So the way to make this stop immediately is we just need a handful. We need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing, wake up and say, I'm going to say no to the Marxist far left pressure, and I'm going to do what's right by the people, the 42 million Americans in this country who rely upon this essential nutrition assistance. Am I going to starve my constituents, or am I going to appease the Marxists? That is their actual calculation, whether they say all of that out loud or not. Everybody in this room knows exactly what's going on. And it's so infuriating to us. The best way for SNAP benefits to be paid on time is for the Democrats to end their shutdown, and that could happen right now if they would show some spine. Yes. So the question is about military pay. We did get the president, as you know, tapped in research and development, unobligated funds, and paid the military in the middle of October. Their next check is due the end of this week, and we're not 100% sure. Now, I do know the administration and everybody is bending over backwards to try to figure that out, but I don't know the final analysis yet. With regard to who gave the $130 million very generous donation to help pay troops, by the way, that's just a small fraction of what is needed to pay the troops, as you know, but a very generous donation. I have not asked the president for the identity of that person because they want to remain anonymous, and I respect that. I've heard rumors, but I'm not 100% certain because, again, I haven't asked to verify that myself. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this AFGE Leader Scalise and Whitmer both mentioned this new statement from the president of the American Federation of Government Employees. They represent 800,000 federal employees. They're obviously calling for a clean CR to pass, which is what you guys passed. Do you see this statement from AFGE as a turning point in the shutdown? Do you see this as something that could move Senator Schumer?
Certainly, I hope so. It's a union, you know, and they represent such a large amount. There's 1.4 million federal employees. They represent 800,000 of them, and they said, to your point, in quote, pass the CR and open the government. It couldn't be more clear, and because they understand the reality of this. These are federal employees. Many of them watch carefully what happens here in the halls of Congress. They know that this whole thing by the Democrats, the entire shutdown, is a charade, because they know, and anybody who pays attention knows, we always were going to arm wrestle over the remaining issues on the table this year. And they're tired of the distraction, and it's hurting their families, and people are suffering real hardships. They really are going to the food pantries out now to feed their families. It's shameful. We're the greatest nation in the history of the world. We've got to be able to operate, and we can't allow a rise of Marxist and far-left activists in one party to shut down the entire operation of the federal government, and that is exactly what they are allowing them to do. The Democrats have got to come to their senses. You can endorse communists all you want, but at least keep the government operating for us. That's our plea. It's pretty simple. Yes, sir. Second row. Yeah, I've been carrying this visual aid around waiting for this question for a while, okay? So when I say that the Republicans have been working on a fix for health care, we've been doing this for years. And many of you who've been on this beat for a while know this is two publications. When I was chair of the Republican Study Committee, the largest caucus of Republicans in Congress, we published volumes of ideas on health care. This was our volume 1, a framework for personalized, affordable care. We had an entire body of the smartest minds in Congress, the smartest Republican minds who worked around the clock. The Doctors Caucus, they talked to stakeholders from around the country and in all the areas related to health care, and they came up with a formula on how to reduce the cost of health care dramatically, how to make Obamacare affordable and workable in some way for the American people, to increase the access to care and the quality of care. And these ideas have been on paper for a long time. There's volumes of this stuff, volumes of it. What we're doing right now, what we have been doing, what we were already doing, because we knew we were coming up to the end of the year, and we know that healthcare is a major burden for the American people. We've been working on it since day one of this Congress. We worked on it in the years prior. And we've already demonstrated, this is not talking points for us. When we say the Republican Party is the only party that has any chance at fixing healthcare for the American people, we've demonstrated it. We put it into the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. As you know, we strengthened the Medicaid program. We started there because it was the lowest hanging fruit. Why? Because the fraud is so glaring. And we eliminated the fraud. We got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid. We preserved it for the people who rely upon it and need it the most. Young pregnant women, the elderly, disabled, for example. We got able-bodied young men without dependents off the program. And what we did was we strengthened it. Don't take our word for it. The CBO, who normally is not on my team, okay? They're the ones that came out and said, yeah, it's going to save $185 billion. And they got 2.3 million ineligible recipients off of it already. That's an important first start. And so the next thing is to fix all the other components of healthcare. That's what we have plans to do. That's what we're working on. The expiring Obamacare subsidy at the end of the year is a serious problem, because if you look at it objectively, you know that it is subsidizing bad policy. We're throwing good money at a bad, broken system, and so it needs real reforms. The reason it was never appropriate or never possible to be resolved on a simple CR, stopgap funding measure, is because it's very complicated to fix. But Republicans have a long list of ideas. Leader Scalise has been working with the chairman of our 3 committees of jurisdiction, putting all of that, formulating all that, grabbing the best ideas that we've had for years to put it on paper and make it work. But we know we're going to have to arm wrestle with Democrats over that. Why? Because many of them are avowed to get us to a single-payer system. They do love socialism, my friends. They love Mondami. He wants government to take over everything. They're on board with that program. They think the government can do a better job by taking over health care. We believe in the private sector and the free market and individual providers, their acumen. And we say that if you take the government off their backs and allow for real competition again in health care, you will improve its quality and you will bring down its cost. All of these are important components of that, and we have a lot of work to do, but it is not a simple thing, and I am not going to go in a back room with Chuck Schumer, like he keeps demanding, with 4 people and make this decision. I will not do it. It's not appropriate. It's not right. It's too complicated for that. We need all the members to have buy-in. We need to have these healthy debates and discussions, but we can't do it while they're shutting the government down to appease the Marxists. That's it. That should be your headline. I want to thank Chairman Williams and Administrator Loeffler for being here and highlighting the trials of small businesses, and we'll see you here again tomorrow. God bless.
I think he's a little bit ticked off, as well as everybody should be. No backroom deals. This is it. It's high noon at this point, and this has got to get done. Again, it is October 27th as I'm playing this, and then in 4 or 5 days, that's it. There will be 42 million people with no food. We are seeing a high-stakes game of chicken being played here. Who do you think is going to get blamed? Well, we know who they're going to try and blame, but it's very, very simple. And as long as the media lets all these people go out there and say, the Republicans are holding it. No, they all voted for it. You have to be an absolute moron to think the Republicans are holding it up. But there's lots of morons. All right, so let me tell you about tonight. Tonight, President Trump, our time, about 8:30, so I'll go live at 8 o'clock. At 8:30 tonight, President Trump is scheduled to have his big meeting with the Prime Minister of Japan. If you haven't looked into her, I'll cover some information tonight so you understand who she is. She is basically the Japanese female Trump. She is completely based upon nationalism and really making Japan great again. And so her and President Trump are probably going to have some good chemistry tonight. You're not going to want to miss that. So I think I'm going to go live at about 8 o'clock because I want to talk to you about what happened with Mondami. I had it ready now, but we've been going too long, and I want to get to the rest of this stuff here I got to get to. That stuff I got to get to right now is I want to go ahead and draw a winner for the silver for today. Hold on, let me get to that right window, and it would be this window here. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. All right, so let's see who wins today. Draw the winner. Boom. And winner chosen. View the winner. Who is the winner? Oh, okay, we had oops, I don't want to show that. That's their personal information. Oops. Oh gosh. Oh, what did I do there? Hold on. Let me go ahead and show you that again without showing their personal information because I don't want that to be seen. So we'll just do it this way. Anyway, it's Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson, you have won a free ounce of silver. Don't know why it popped up like that with everybody's information on it, but Robert Johnson is the winner. Let me see if I can show you the name without causing any problems so you guys know I actually picked the winner. And let's see, one second here. There's the winner. You guys can see his name right now. Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson will be getting a free ounce of silver. Congratulations to him. And I hope I didn't show your private information too quickly. But I tried. Tried not to in any event. I couldn't get it to take the year. All right, Trump needs to reverse the amendment to Congress getting paid during shutdowns. Yeah, but I think he's leaving it up to them to get it done, and they got to get it done. Let me end this poll here and do super chats so you guys aren't here all day. Got some good stuff to show you tonight. I didn't have time to get through, as Rush Limbaugh would say, my stack of stuff, but I do have a bunch to show you tonight before President Trump's event with the Japanese Prime Minister. All right, let me go to the super chats, and then we can all go to lunch or dinner. Starfleet, thank you very much. AG, my husband is going in for a heart procedure this week. Might get a stent. Asking for prayers. Thank you. Love your show, Barry. God bless your husband. What's his name? I know if you can put it in the chat, a lot of people like to pray people and like to pray at his actual name. So AG, put his first name, please. Starfleet again. Democrats wanted political leverage to change the demographics in certain areas. This could be why they allowed illegal. Oops. Yeah, them. FB, thank you. Buddy Sanders, favorite ice cream? You're asking me or him. Mine, I'm just easy. It's either vanilla or strawberry. Sugar-free. Redeem Patriots for the Bibles. Thank you very much. I'll show you the Bible link afterwards. So sorry I hit an outdated card. Redo for the Bibles. No, sorry. Tania, Barry, dumb question here, but how would a China mineral deal affect metal stock, for example, TMC stock? A China minerals deal is basically going to allow for the processing, meaning how they can get these different minerals to market. But in terms of a metal stock, I don't know. I don't touch metal stock. If I can't reach over and hold it in my hands, I don't want it. I don't want gold paper. I don't want silver paper. I don't want stock. I want the actual thing. Because if poop hits the fan, that ain't going to help you eat. But I'm going to get Kevin Demerit back on, and maybe he can talk about it. But he doesn't like stock, doesn't like metal stock either. Nah, don't pay with the paper. Fazul, Daddy Trump, don't make me come down there. Oh, I got to show you something SV sent me too. Thornton Maloney, Jersey looks like a wash. Rich Bear shows us 10 points down in the early vote from where we need to be. Getting sold too much cope online, not good. it's Jersey. Again, that doesn't matter to me. I feel bad for the people in Jersey. Definitely feel bad for the people in New York. But you got to make your own way. How about the Dems actually pick a country over party and open a government and truly negotiate in good faith? Nope, they won't do that. Thank you, everybody. They won't do that because it's all about power. Power, power, power. Where did I want to show you that SV showed me? Ashley sent me a couple of things too. Ooh, this is scary. Oh, we talked about the robots. Check this out. I told you about the they are aiming to automate 75% of operations. This would replace over 1 million jobs. Let me just show you what Amazon is doing. So this is one of their warehouse floors, and there's our new employee. That would be number 1526. He can lift. Oh, there's a human, but there's another. See, these people are the ones who get paid $15, $17 an hour. Not the guy running the machine. Oh, look at that. Ooh, that's some scary stuff right there. That's some scary. Look at him. He's just kneeling down, picking up heavy boxes. Don't need a lunch break. Doesn't have ear piercings. Nothing. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, that's some frightening stuff for people who all right, so I wanted to show you this. SV got this for me. Very interesting here. Where is this? This happened an hour ago. U.S. Air Force to Venezuela. We see you. 2 American B-1B Lancer bombers just flew from South Dakota to the Caribbean, circling south of the Dominican Republic like they're looking for trouble. This is the second time in a week they've made this flight. It's a loud message to Venezuela. We can reach you fast. These things don't carry warning shots. They carry 75,000 pounds of we're serious. And so, like I said, Trump understands. If you haven't seen a president like this, I will kill you. I will drop bombs on you. You better come to the table and come to your senses. So, yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Yeah, robots are serving food here in Houston. Yes, Robert Johnson won the silver. Yes, that was him. All right, everybody. Tonight, 8 o'clock. We shall go live, and I'll show you some stuff I didn't get to show you today because we ran along. Sometimes I'm a bit verbose and I talk too much. All right, 8 o'clock, everybody. 8 o'clock. And what the heck? Hold on. Here we go.
Spencer.